Hello, my name's Claire and I'm a textile artist. What I wanted to do was to make a few videos about how I actually make a lot of my artwork and how I go about creating my textile pieces. So I've set out a few examples. This is hang on, let me show you the actual piece itself. So let's move the camera. This is a commission that a friend of mine asked me to do. It's actually based on Mary Magdalene. It was an oracle card, actually, originally, the image that she gave me, and she said, could I create something that was like that? I did, of course, say yes, I could. So what I started to do was to plan out how I would do that and the sort of techniques I would use. So I will show you. I began by doing some drawings. I do a lot of drawings on my iPad, actually, and I do them that way because I can easily replicate them if I need to. I can scale them up if I need to, and also doing a larger scale drawing does take a lot of time to produce, and I find it easier to actually draw them on my iPad. I'm also disabled, so I have to think very carefully about how much energy is involved in creating this stuff, how much time it's gonna take, and how exhausted I might be at the end of it. So I have to consider all of those things as well. So anyway, this is a drawing that I did, and I've actually scaled it up from my iPad and using my printer, and I've made the face to scale, and I also have a detail of the hands as well. And the reason why I did a detail of the face and the hands is really because they are the two areas that are going to be the most tricky to produce, and that's where the detail is as well. Once I've got these images sorted, I then did it on a larger sheet like this, so you can see I have produced a larger image. And in this case, Mary Magdalene, I chose to have her, instead of holding an ointment jar, which she has traditionally been depicted with, which was symbolic of her anointing the feet of Jesus. It was also, I felt, very connected to her being a prostitute and about atoning for her sins. Now, as somebody who is has a different belief, I am more, my personal belief is more aligned with paganism and witchcraft. I actually chose to depict her differently. If this lady did exist, I feel she would have been a very powerful teacher. She would have been somebody who was an inspiration to others, and I chose to depict her instead with a cosmic egg, with as in a powerful life force and a powerful spiritual being instead. So anyway, that's my large scale drawing. What I then do is I actually use a lot of recycled fabric and fabrics which are from charity shops, thrift shops, that sort of thing. And I choose to do that because there is actually a big environmental impact in how fabric's produced and how it's manufactured. So I'm very aware of this. I'm very conscious of the carbon footprint that fabric actually has. So I do actually choose to recycle and reuse a lot of fabric. So a lot of my textile pieces are made from old bed sheets and old curtains and things like that, which are perfect for doing larger scale textile pieces such as this. So what I would do with this drawing is typically I would trace it onto one of these large bed sheets. I also use a lot of dissolvable fabric, which is great for getting details. So details like the hands, for example, I would use the dissolvable fabric, trace around it, and then use that to help me get that level of detail when I'm free machine embroidering into the fabric. So the sorts of things, this is an old bed sheet that I had picked up, and this is the sort of thing typically that I'll use. So you can see in here there's some detail. Let me move the camera again and I'll show you in her dress. So what I've done is I've cut these up into little pieces, and I've then sewn them in a pattern using free machine embroidery. I've actually got an example of the pair of scissors that I use, because my scissors are also slightly different to maybe the average scissor. And the reason why I'm showing you this is because I actually have difficulty sometimes gripping and using scissors. So these are special adapted scissors for disabled people, and they're great. I can just squeeze them and use them to cut around. So once I have free machine embroidered and created my pattern, I've built this up in layers. So you will see, typically I will do the background first. And the reason why I'll do the background first is because that's furthest away from you and I want the figure to be in front. So it becomes quite difficult to match the fabric up once I've done that. So it's easier to lay down the background and then to work on top with the figure. As I said, I often use dissolvable fabric. So for the hands, I will have used a dissolvable fabric, and that enables me to sew in the detail of things like the fingernails. For the egg, I've used this little sparkly fabric for some nice detail. I've also had these little rays of light coming out from it. At the moment, she's still got some of these large threads that are actually binding her to the back, because I haven't quite finished quilting her. So you'll see, again, this is a plain bed sheet on the back, and I've just roughly sewn through to enable the wadding underneath to stay in position, so that's not moving about too much. Right, then obviously I have backed it with an old bed sheet, as I'd said, and the final things that I've done, especially with the face, is to again, using dissolvable fabric, I've been able to just add in these beautiful details, especially the eyes. So I free machine embroidered into the eye to get that detail. I've used different tones of fabric to create a bit of shadow and detail for her nose. And I've done this in blocks, so a little bit like when you're painting a picture, I've tried to imagine it in these blocks of colour. So I've created a bit of a 3D effect. The same with the hair, you'll see I've just got these chunks that I've cut out that just gives it that bit of texture. Okay, so I hope you've found that useful to find out a bit more about how I actually go about making these things. You know, I hope you've enjoyed watching this. Thank you.